Amara Coleman stood before the mirror in the department store's changing area, tweaking the fold in her ivory silk gown. With just 3 days to go before the big day, she was still hunting for the ideal footwear. The 7th option she'd slipped into that afternoon felt nearly spot on. Sophisticated cream pumps featuring a modest heel, though she harbored a sliver of doubt about them. At 25, the independent woman had long since grown accustomed to handling choices solo. After aging out of foster care, she'd settled into a modest one-bedroom unit, courtesy of a government assistance initiative, right at 18. As a project coordinator for a building company, she pulled in a solid income that let her indulge without hesitation. And soon, wedlock. Marcus Holloway, the 32-year-old structural specialist, had captured her affections 6 months back during an office festive gathering. With his imposing height, sharp attire, warm grin, and kind hazel gaze, he'd wooed her through genuine gestures of affection. Bouquets arrived weekly, evenings glowed under soft lights with meals, and they strolled endlessly by the seaside walkway. Just a month into their romance, Marcus brought her to meet his mom. Then, 2 months on, he popped the question amid the sands on a getaway to Miami, Florida. Vivian Holloway, 55 and sporting a chic bob with impeccable cosmetics, welcomed her prospective in-law with open arms. A licensed caregiver at the local medical center, Vivian had lost her spouse 5 years earlier. She shared a roomy 2-level home in Atlanta's outskirts with her boy. That's why she'd eagerly endorsed Marcus's idea for the couple to join her household post-nuptials. "Mom's place is massive, Amara. Plenty of space for everyone," he'd persuaded her over a shared meal 4 weeks prior. "Plus, we could lease your flat." Amara hadn't pushed back. Back then, she'd figured her soon-to-be mother-in-law's company might foster that genuine home vibe she'd craved since her youth. Now, in the changing space, her mind raced through the ceremony's logistics. The outfit was secured, the bands etched with inscriptions, and the site booked. A small crowd, a handful of Amara's workmates, Marcus's buddies, his mom, and an uncle. Amara lacked kin of her own, a fact that occasionally weighed on her, particularly at milestones like this. She eased off the pumps and draped the gown neatly over the rack. Time for a firm call. Grab these or keep searching. Chatter seeped from the adjacent stall. Fresh shoppers, it seemed. Amara might have brushed it off, but one tone rang a bell. "You positive the scheme will play out smoothly again?" A female timbre, slightly gravelly, mirroring her impending mother-in-law's exactly. "Without question," boomed a male bass in response. "We've pulled it off twice before. The paperwork's prepped. We can ink the incapacity declaration whenever." Amara went rigid. That was unmistakably Vivian's voice. But what scheme? Instinctively, she hit record on her device to capture their words. Certain she won't catch on. The woman pressed. "My boy and I only want her place, her cash, and her shipped off to the loony bin per our deal." Ice surged through Amara's veins. No doubt, this was her mother-in-law scheming about her. Pressing against the partition, the young lady held her breath. "Does Aaron recall his part?" the fellow queried. "Naturally. My son's a pro at performing. Post-ceremony, he'll sneak pills into her meals bit by bit. In a couple months, delusions and odd conduct will surface. We'll summon paramedics, and with the housing forms, Marcus is already earning her confidence. Once the union's legal snagging control over her assets, to handle the rental will be a breeze, and from there, we're golden." The floor seemed to vanish beneath Amara. So every tender moment, the entire courtship charade, had been a sham. Marcus and his mother aimed to seize her home and consign her to a mental institution. "Aaron, suppose she senses trouble." Vivian's pitch carried unease. "She won't," the man assured firmly. "Orphan like her, no allies, nobody to advocate or probe. I'll pick the meds so she stays clueless about the changes. She'll chalk it up to wedding jitters unraveling her nerves." They hushed, and Amara caught the shuffle of sheets, likely scanning files. Her pulse thundered in her head. "Fine, catch you tomorrow evening at my practice," Aaron wrapped up. We'll iron out the last bits. All right, I'm off. Marcus expects me back. Footfalls echoed, followed by the neighboring door clicking shut. Amara remained solitary, struggling to process the horror she'd overheard. She'd caught every word. Trembling, Amara slipped back into her outfit, her mind swirling with frantic questions. What now? How to respond? The tale was so outrageous, it seemed impossible. Yet the voice unmistakably belonged to her future mother-in-law, and her fiancé's name rang true without question. Suddenly, pieces of their romance clicked into a horrifying mosaic. Marcus had popped the question after just a short time. He'd pressed hard on her money matters, her living space, and family ties. Learning she had no parents left had oddly delighted him. "No outsiders meddling in our home," he'd remarked. Amara emerged from the changing area on unsteady feet, the shoes forgotten entirely. Priority 1, plotting her escape from these fraudsters. Cancel the ceremony. That would tip them off to her discovery. And suppose it was a mix-up, a voice too alike to ignore. No, her instinct screamed certainty. She had precisely 3 days to shift from prey to predator. Exiting the shopping center, a steely grin crossed Amara's lips, icily resolute. They'd snag her place, all right, but not on their terms. That night, Amara lounged in the kitchen, feigning interest in a wedding glossy. Truth was, the eavesdropped exchange dominated her every notion. Marcus had headed out to a buddy's for bachelor bash talks, granting her undisturbed reflection. She sifted through memories of her betrothed. Their paths crossed at her construction firm's event. He represented a subcontractor outfit, imposing height, striking looks, impeccable attire. He'd hooked her fast with his pursuit, rose arrangements, upscale dining, lavish presents. Now it dawned where an ordinary engineer sourced such extravagance. If scams were his game, payoffs from past marks funded the romance. Firing up her computer, Amara dove into web queries. Plain Marcus Holloway spat out endless hits, narrowing to the city plus his job. Zilch, alarming. His profiles appeared spotless. Job snaps, pal outings, their recent couple shots. Naturally, a slick swindler would scrub his digital footprint. Pivoting to Vivian, the clinic nurse. Simple to confirm. She'd ring them incognito come morning. Meanwhile, the guy's moniker, Aaron, stuck out. Her in-law had uttered it casually, hinting at deep familiarity, and from the chat he practiced psychiatry, probably in a senior role. Amara keyed in Aaron Psychiatrist Atlanta. Third result, the local psych wards page. Head of department Dr. Aaron Sterling, MD, esteemed pro with 2 decades under his belt. The image depicted a 50s-era fellow, balding, sharp gaze peering through slim silver frames. Amara fixed on the visage, etching details deep. This was the fiend scheming to commit her. Digging further, his bio gleamed. Med school grad, residency done, stacks of scholarly articles. Surface level, an upstanding healer beyond reproach. Yet per the talk, he'd orchestrated this ploy at least twice before. The front door latch snapped. Marcus home. Amara slammed tabs shut, grabbing the periodical anew. "Hey, love." He pecked her cheek, dropping beside her on the couch. "Day go all right. Score those heels." "Still hunting," Amara answered, eyes locked on his expression. "More tomorrow." "No rush. You'll nail it," he assured, draping an arm round her. "Key is your joy on the wedding day." Master performer. Without the intel, she'd swallow his earnest vibe hook, line, sinker. Amara forced a casual grin. "Marcus, spill on your mom. I barely know her." "Spill what?" He lifted his shoulders. "Ordinary lady, nursed full-time, solo parented me post-dad's passing, stayed single, claimed I topped her world. Buddies from the job, workmates, that's the gist." He eyed her oddly. "What sparked this? Kinda odd queries." "A mere interest. Family merger incoming. I want to grasp your circle." "Fair enough," he pondered. "Couple work pals, chats with docs now and then. One dropped by loads back when I was home. Aaron, believe." Amara's pulse lurched. Long-time ties confirmed. His gig. Psychiatrist. Mom raves he's top tier. Amara gave a nod, feigning that the details weren't particularly captivating. Marcus, did you ever have any meaningful romances prior to this? He stared at her now with genuine surprise in his eyes. Amara, what's gotten into you today? You're behaving oddly. We've covered all that ground already. We touched on it, sure, but not thoroughly. I simply want to understand the background you're carrying into our union. Naturally, I've had some relationships. He rose from the couch and headed to the window, though none of them were deep. You're the one I'm ready to dedicate my entire future to. And what about Vivian? Did she give her blessing to your former partners? Amara, enough. He spun back toward her, his tone edged with annoyance. Is this some kind of cross-examination? Perhaps you ought to share about your past flames. Forgive me. She rose and stepped closer to him. It's likely just those pre-wedding nerves kicking in. I'm anxious about how your mother might welcome me. Marcus pulled her into an embrace and pressed a kiss to her brow. You foolish thing. Mom thinks the world of you. She keeps mentioning what a gem you are. How fortunate we are regarding the apartment. He paused, aware he'd slipped up. I mean, how blessed I feel to have found you, he amended hastily. But Amara had pieced it together by then, so his future mother-in-law had a real fixation on her place, and it wasn't mere idle curiosity, but a deliberate focus. The evening continued routinely after that. They caught a film and chatted about the last wedding arrangements. Amara sensed her betrothed's watchful eyes on her repeatedly. Her inquiries had clearly unsettled him. Once Marcus drifted off to sleep, she remained alert for hours, staring at the ceiling and pondering her next moves. She had to collect proof without alerting the con artists in any way. With just 2 days until the ceremony, 48 hours to flip the script and make the predators the prey. Starting tomorrow, she'd seek out a way to hire a private detective. These kinds of issues were ideal for an expert's handling. For now, she had to embody the picture of a loving fiancé, avoiding any hint of doubt. Amara slipped silently from the bed and moved to the window. The city at night twinkled with illuminated spots. A distant locomotive's horn echoed faintly. Come morning, her personal chase would commence. The following day, Amara stirred in her flat ahead of Marcus. As he showered, she swiftly searched online for local investigation firms. She picked one focused on domestic cases, Fact Detective Agency. This is Ike, a male voice responded to her call. Morning. I'm dealing with a sensitive issue and require assistance. Can we connect today? Face-to-face is preferable for such topics. Absolutely. When suits you. How about 2 p.m.? I'll send the location via text. Amara confirmed and ended the call right as Marcus emerged from the bath. Who was that? He inquired, toweling his hair. The salon for my locks. Booked a slot for tomorrow, she fibbed smoothly. Excellent. I'm seeing Mom later. We'll iron out the reception's closing points. Mind if I join? Amara offered. I'd love to contribute to the planning. Not necessary, he shot back promptly. It's all tedious logistics. You pamper yourself instead. The bride's radiance matters most. Yet another warning sign. Why was her intended avoiding including her in the session with his mother? They'd always gathered as a trio in the past. Post-meal, Marcus departed for his job, leaving Amara solo. Her initial step was phoning the regional medical center. Is Nurse Vivian Holloway on staff there? She queried, altering her pitch a bit. Indeed, she is. May I ask who's calling? This is her niece. I plan to deliver an item to her workplace. She's on duty through noon. Admissions, level 2. Thus, her prospective mother-in-law was legitimately a nurse, yet that alone didn't confirm her role in the fraud, though it offered a plausible link to the mental health specialist. By 1:30 p.m., Amara reached the agency's site, a compact space on the building's 3rd level with a simple sign by the entrance. Isaiah Ike West proved to be an engaging fellow, roughly 45, with silver hair and a solid frame, gray gaze steady. Take a seat, he gestured to the chair opposite his workspace. What's the trouble? Amara recounted the full tale meticulously, starting from her encounter with Marcus up to the dialogue she'd caught the day before. The investigator paid close heed, jotting key points. Quite the shocking account, no doubt, he remarked upon her conclusion, though hardly one of a kind. Property swindles via coerced institutionalization represent a familiar tactic. So something like this truly happens. Regrettably, it does, particularly when the mark is isolated and the schemers boast ties to healthcare facilities. Ike reclined in his seat. The challenge lies in substantiating it. What's your approach? We should scrutinize the histories of your intended and his mother. If they're genuinely involved in such a racket, in any shady operation like that, there are bound to be clues left behind. We also have to uncover the link between Sterling and the Holloways. How much time do you figure that'll require? With focused effort, probably just a day or so. However, there's a complication. Your ceremony is set for tomorrow. Discovering solid evidence only after the union is sealed would make an annulment far more challenging. Amara pondered the dilemma. Sure, she might delay the event with some excuse, yet that could alert the fraudsters that something's amiss, prompting them to vanish and complicating any attempt to nail them for their deeds. No, the nuptials would proceed as planned, she resolved. But by that point, we'll need bulletproof evidence. It's a gamble, the investigator replied, shaking his head. Yet it could pay off big. Picture this. They believe their scheme succeeded, let their guard down, and suddenly, bam, their whole web of deceit unravels. Ike grinned. I'm on board with that strategy. Fine, we'll push forward at top speed, but I'll require your cooperation. In what way? I need access to the Holloway's home. Poke around a bit. Perhaps locate papers or incriminating items. That could work if you manage to lure them away for 3 or 4 hours. Say, by dispatching them on wedding-related tasks. Amara mulled it over. The next morning, she had an appointment with the stylists for hair and cosmetics. Her cover story was set, and she could easily direct Marcus and his mother on a final errand for supplies. I believe I can pull that off, she stated. Outstanding. Here's the outline. For the following hour, they hashed out the operation's specifics. Ike detailed precisely what to seek in the residence, methods to avoid detection upon entry, and protocols for urgent contact. One final note, he added at last. Stay vigilant. If these folks are truly tied to what you heard, they'll go to extremes to shield their secrets. Got it. Amara inclined her head. And the fee. Once the investigation wraps and we confirm their wrongdoing, I'll charge the usual rate. If we fall short, my services are gratis. Such terms built her trust. Amara clasped the detective's hand, passed him the spare key to her soon-to-be mother-in-law's place, courtesy of Marcus, and drove back to her own spot. En route, she detoured to a tech shop and snagged an inexpensive disposable phone for linking up with Ike. Her primary line might get tapped if the con artists were savvy operators. Back at her place, Marcus greeted her holding a bunch of pristine white roses. How's it going, beautiful? He planted a kiss on her and offered the blooms. I've been thinking about you. Thanks. They're lovely. Amara inhaled their scent. How'd the chat with your mother go? All sorted out. Tomorrow's going to be magical. Marcus, mind doing me a small favor? In the morning, I've got to head to the hair and makeup pros. Could you and your mom grab the cake? It'd mean a lot. Mother and son gearing up for the big day. She could inspect its freshness and appearance. Absolutely, love. What's the pickup time? 11 a.m. and perhaps swing by for some bubbly too. Our original order might be delayed. Smart thinking. Mom and I will take care of it. Relax. Ideal. Thus, come morning, the sleuth would get a window of a few hours to scour the Holloway's domain. For now, though, Amara had to keep up the facade of the devoted partner. The night unfolded calmly. They caught a light-hearted flick on the screen. Marcus shared amusing tales from his past. Amara forced smiles and chuckles where expected, though inwardly she roiled with revulsion. How did he pull off the pretense so effortlessly? Did he see her merely as a mobile ATM? As they turned in, Marcus enveloped her in a warm embrace. "Tomorrow you'll be mine forever," he murmured softly. "I can't wait." "So do I," Amara answered, silently questioning how much more of this ordeal she could endure. Sleep eluded her for hours that evening as she mentally rehearsed the upcoming scheme. It all hinged on flawless execution. She'd get just one shot to unmask the swindlers, and failure wasn't an option. When the wedding dawn broke, Amara roused in her flat, steely in her determination to resolve the affair completely. Marcus was already active in the galley, whipping up a meal. "Morning, my soon-to-be spouse," he beamed. "Restful night." "Like a dream," she fibbed. Truth be told, slumber had been fitful, plagued by worrisome visions. "My mom rang earlier. She wants to know when we're fetching the cake." 11, as I mentioned. Redwood Street Bakery, Unit 15. Noted. And your nail appointment. 10:30, followed by the hairstylist. Should return by 3-ish. Super. We'll have it all squared away before you're home. Post-meal, Marcus departed. Alone at last, Amara rang the investigator right away. "Ike, it's underway. They're off for the cake at 11, then the fizz. You'll get roughly 3 to 4 hours. Clear. I have the Holloway's address from before. Prepping now. Any progress on the vetting?" "On it. Some intriguing details are surfacing. Marcus Holloway boasts 2 prior documented unions in over the past 5 years. A shiver crept down Amara's back. 2 prior unions, yet he insisted she was his initial one. Initial spouse, Eliza Coleman, age 30. She'd been widowed prior to tying the knot with him. She possessed a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center. The split was ruled due to her mental unfitness. Follow-up spouse, Olivia Rodas, 28 years of age. Their union ended a year following her initial separation, citing the partner's psychological instability and their fates. Eliza Coleman had spent 4 years in the local mental health facility, condition, schizophrenia, ruled legally unfit. Olivia Rhodes has resided in the identical institution, sharing the same disorder. Both lost control over their apartments. Amara's fingers shook. Heavens, does this imply they already claimed lives? Apparently. And the most striking detail, the doctor overseeing both ladies was Dr. Aaron Sterling. We must rescue them. Initially, though, we require proof of their actions against them. That demands paperwork, tapes, whatever solid proof links the Holloways to Sterling. Thus, infiltrating their residence becomes crucial. I concur. Proceed with caution and keep communicating. Amara ended the call and attempted to steady her nerves. Thus, her doubts proved true, and far graver than she'd imagined, these offenders already ensnared victims. 2 females now decaying in a psychiatric ward on their account. At 10:30, she departed her place, ostensibly bound for the beautician and nail tech. In truth, she stopped at the salon for just half an hour. She opted for the quickest basic manicure to bolster her cover. Afterward, she headed to the dwelling of Marcus's mom to verify their departure. Their 2-level home sat in an established Atlanta district. Amara parked at a safe remove and observed. By 10:55, Marcus and Vivian emerged, entered their vehicle, and sped off. Moments later, Amara texted the investigator. Path is free. Now she simply had to bide her time. She proceeded to a different salon for her hair session. As the hairdresser styled her bridal hairstyle, Amara pondered Ike's discoveries. "The bride appears somewhat stressed this morning," the hairdresser observed. "Makes sense, naturally, but do try unwinding. Tension stiffens your face lines. Your cosmetics won't apply evenly." "Just a bit jittery," Amara responded. "Such a major occasion. Understandable. Is the fiancé a decent fellow?" "He came across as solid," Amara replied candidly. At 2:00 p.m., the investigator rang her. "We should convene. Pressing matter." Uncovered something big. Best to demonstrate it face to face. "Your current spot. At the parlor on Liberty Avenue. Central Perk Cafe sits right opposite. I'll be there shortly, in 30. Amara swiftly settled up with the staff and rushed from the shop. Her pulse raced. The investigator's tone hinted at grave revelations. Ike had arrived ahead, tucked in a quiet nook of the cafe. A slim dossier rested before him on the surface. "What exactly did you uncover?" Amara inquired, taking the seat across. "Beyond my anticipations." He extracted papers from the packet. "Your intended maintains meticulous records of his endeavors." The investigator flipped open the bundle. It held duplicates of files, snapshots, and scrawled annotations. "This covers Eliza Coleman, the initial partner. A thorough blueprint of the scheme. Encounter, romance, nuptials, slow dosing with mind-altering substances." Amara scanned the pages, her head spinning from the revelations. It outlined everything chronologically. Timing for the medications, ways to mimic psychosis signs, moments to summon the medics. And here's the one for the subsequent partner. Ike presented another packet, a similar outline, though they adjusted the approach marginally post-error assessment. What errors? Eliza proved overly wary. She began querying locals on her husband's conduct. They accelerated the timeline to prevent her digging. And for Olivia, they handled her with greater precision. They cut her off from acquaintances and workmates, persuading a career shift. When she entered the facility, she essentially lacked any network. Amara turned the leaf and spotted her own image. "And they've initiated a dossier on me, a full profile. They examined you meticulously. Wealth situation, kin, ties, or the absence of them, social network." The packet included in-depth details on her employment, pay, residence, and even account summaries. How did they obtain that? "Marcus lacks entry to your fiscal records, right?" the investigator queried. "No, well, he glimpsed a pay slip at my place, but that's it. Suggests they hold sway in financial institutions, a robust network." Ike withdrew yet another paper. This maps their outfit's hierarchy. Marcus and Vivian lead operations. Aaron Sterling orchestrates the core. Additional aides exist, too. A finance worker, a legal certifier, a municipal officer, basically a full-fledged illicit operation. Indeed, but the most intriguing aspect was their scheme for the coming days. The investigator presented her with a planner full of scribbled entries. Post-wedding, they intended a getaway honeymoon where they'd deliver the medications. Next came the fake nervous collapse, the emergency services alert, admission to the facility, followed by the ruling of incapacity, the separation, and unloading the property. Classic setup. The funds get split evenly with the crew. Amara balled her hands into tight knots. Scumbags. And according to the records, the ladies stay confined in the psych ward. Absolutely, they get dosed consistently with meds that sustain the disorder's signs. No one's aiming for a cure. It's killing them. Gradually, yet it's killing. I concur. That's the reason we must move swiftly. You've gathered every bit of proof. The investigator slid the papers back inside the file. Now, the dilemma. How should we deploy it? Amara checked her timepiece. Just 4.5 hours remained before the nuptials. "We could halt the event and head straight to the authorities," Ike proposed. "Absolutely not," she stated resolutely. "Alerting them at this stage would prompt them to shred the documents and vanish, leaving those poor souls trapped in the asylum. So, what's your alternative? We see it through completely. Allow them to believe the operation's unfolding smoothly, and we'll spring the trap on them precisely at the registry office." The investigator rubbed his chin in contemplation. "That's bold. Suppose they catch on and bolt. She'll never sense a thing. I can play the role flawlessly when it counts. Fine, in that case, I'll require some moments to arrange the big takedown. How long? A few hours at most. I must reach out to the authorities, draft the paperwork. You can pull it off. I can indeed." They clasped hands firmly, and Amara made her way back to the residence. The toughest challenge lay ahead, enduring the final stretch alongside the fraudsters, feigning complete ignorance. Returning to the flat, a beaming Marcus welcomed her, holding a bunch of peonies. "Everything all right, beautiful?" He planted a kiss on her cheek. "That hairdo is killer." "Thanks." Amara forced a grin, aiming for authenticity. How'd the errand for the dessert go? Superb. It's a genuine masterpiece. Mom's over the moon. Plus, we grabbed the bubbly and blooms. Where's Vivian at the moment? Back home, prepping. She's buzzing with nerves for the big day. Claims she'll gain a proper daughter-in-law at last. If only she realized the kind of in-law I've got lined up for them. Marcus, mind if I catch a quick nap? The spa visits wore me out. Need to recharge for the ritual. Sure thing, love. Take it easy. I'll load the paperwork into the vehicle now so it doesn't slip my mind. Amara slipped into the sleeping quarters and stretched out on the mattress. Time to refine the last bits of strategy. Crucial above all, avoid tipping her hand too soon. The con artists couldn't harbor doubts until the instant of the bust. Her gown for the ceremony dangled in the wardrobe. Stunning, pricey, purchased from her personal savings, the very funds the crooks aimed to swipe. She'd skipped buying new footwear ultimately, opting instead for a fitting set from her collection. Marcus bustled about the space, reviewing the invitees, phoning the food service. Amara, Mom's wondering if she should pack her camera. Why bother? We've got a pro shooter. She fancies snapping a few personal shots for the family keepsakes. More like their fraud files, Amara thought, but said casually, tell her to bring it if she feels like it. Right on schedule, the bridal convoy pulled up, vehicles festooned with blossoms. The chauffeur assisted Amara in sliding into the ride without creasing her outfit. You appear utterly heavenly, Marcus noted, settling beside her. I'm the luckiest guy alive. Same here, she responded, pondering how often he'd uttered that line to his prior spouses. En route to the municipal office, Marcus gripped her palm and chattered about their post-wedding escape. Amara bobbed her head and beamed, though her mind raced elsewhere entirely. She pondered whether the investigator had finalized the setup for the confrontation. At the office structure, Vivian awaited in a fresh azure frock. She seemed dignified, almost tearful. My sweet child, the soon-to-be mother-in-law, enveloped Amara in a hug. You look ravishing, straight out of a fairy tale. Thanks, Amara reciprocated the clasp, suppressing her disgust. Where's the rest of the crowd? Marcus inquired. Seated within, his mom answered. Uncle Arthur's present, your pals as well. They ascended the broad steps to the marriage chamber, a grand, lofty room adorned with posies and streamers. Roughly 15 attendees were settled in. Amara spotted a handful of Marcus's buddies and an elderly fellow who must be the relative, but her focus shifted to someone else. A man in his 40s, clad in a somber jacket perched in a distant nook. Ike. The investigator was on site. It signaled the operation was set. Marcus, who's the fellow near the pane? She whispered, acting unaware of the sleuth. Which fellow? He peered that way. No clue. Likely a pal of a guest. Mom, did you bring in anyone else? No, just the ones we settled on, Vivian responded, eyeing the unfamiliar face too. It's fine, Amara assured her. He could be from the local government or snapping photos. The formal proceedings kicked off without delay. Dressed in an elegant outfit, the county official gave a warm opening address. She highlighted the value of strong family connections. And now, let's hear from the couple about their willingness to bind their futures through matrimony, she declared with gravity. Marcus Holloway, will you accept Amara Holloway as your legal spouse? Absolutely, the bridegroom affirmed resolutely. Amara Holloway, will you accept Marcus Holloway as your legal partner? A hush descended. Everyone present held still in anticipation. Vivian grinned, relishing the payoff from their extended scheme. No, Amara stated distinctly. An eerie quiet blanketed the venue. Marcus's gaze widened in shock. What did you say? He echoed. Amara, have you gotten something wrong? I got it all right, she answered steadily. My response is no, I won't. The official glanced uncertainly between the pair. Maybe it's just jitters. We'll pause briefly. No pause needed. Amara faced the attendees. I need to share something with all of you here. Marcus reached for her arm. Amara, cut out this foolishness. Get away from me, she snapped. Hands off, you deceiver. Gasps rippled across the room. Vivian went ashen. "What do you mean?" Marcus fought to stay composed. "I'm fully aware of your scheme." Amara retrieved her phone from her bag. "Including your plot to commit me to a psychiatric facility and seize my home. Are you out of your mind?" Marcus surged ahead. Insane. Amara activated the audio on her device. Vivian's recognizable tone emanated from it. "Are you certain she won't catch on? All my son and I require is her property, her funds, and her shipped off to the loony bin, exactly as planned." The prospective mother-in-law gripped her heart. Marcus shifted uncomfortably, scanning for an escape. This must be an error," he grumbled. "The audio's been tampered with." An error. Amara chuckled. "And what of Eliza Coleman and Olivia Rhodes? Your past spouses, now confined in asylums because of your actions." The crowd started showing real concern. A few rose to their feet. Others grabbed their mobiles. "I have no idea what you're referring to," Marcus attempted to deny. "You have no clue." Ike rose and approached the duo, then explained these files. The investigator produced the dossier from Marcus's residence, containing outlines of their schemes, methods for drugging targets, and rosters of co-conspirators. Marcus and his mother shared a look. Vivian headed for the door, only to find her way barred by two undercover officers. Police. One flashed his identification. "You're staying put." "And the key player?" Amara inquired. "Where's Dr. Aaron Sterling?" Right on schedule, additional officers stepped in, accompanying an elderly gentleman with spectacles. Amara identified him from the clinic's online image. "The physician's here as well," she noted approvingly. "The full group is assembled." Marcus attempted to force his way out, but was swiftly subdued. Vivian sobbed, whispering denials of comprehension. "Mr. Holloway, Ms." Redacted for clarity, but assuming Vivian's last name, and Dr. Sterling are under arrest for suspected deception, document forgery, and unlawful confinement, the lead officer proclaimed. Spectators in the municipal building captured the chaos on their devices. The official lingered in bewilderment, unsure how to proceed amid the turmoil. "Amara," Marcus croaked while being escorted off in restraints. "You'll pay for this." "No," she responded evenly. "You'll be the one facing the consequences of harming those you targeted." Once the fraudsters departed, the space settled into calm. The assembly slowly departed, buzzing about the astonishing conclusion to the matrimonial affair. Ike neared Amara. "Impressive effort," he commended. "You're a real warrior. Thanks for your support. I wouldn't have pulled it off alone. What's next for you?" Amara eyed her gown, then the bands on the official's desk. First off, a wardrobe switch. She grinned, followed by embracing genuine existence from here on out. The following day, Amara stirred in her own bed, half convinced the prior events were a wild fantasy, until the vacant garment container in the bedroom corner jogged her memory of the truth. At 9 a.m., Ike rang. "Morning. Feeling okay?" "Decent," Amara said, extending her limbs. "Actually, great. After ages, my rest is undisturbed. Makes sense. Update on the investigation. Available to drop by the station in about 2 hours." "Sure. Crucial info." "Extremely so. Fresh revelations from the overnight questionings should catch your attention." Amara dressed swiftly and arrived at the sleuth's workspace in under 60 minutes. Ike welcomed her with stacks of files. The all-night sessions uncovered a trove of details. He started by helping her settle into the seat. Marcus Holloway and his mom chose to assist the probe in hopes of lighter penalties. And boy, did they spill details. Their outfit had been running for more than 7 years, it seems. Not just 2 targets, but 5. 5 women, Amara burst out. Sadly, that's right. The initial 3 schemes happened in different towns, so we didn't catch on right away. The investigator flipped open the initial file. This outlines their timeline. It kicked off in Charleston, South Carolina. The first mark, Natalie Grant, who owned a small 1-bedroom place. Vivian worked as a nurse in the nearby hospital. She crossed paths with the shrink Sterling at a healthcare gathering. He was still fine-tuning the con at that point. Amara then skimmed the papers. Images of the women, medical discharge forms, deeds for the property sales. So Sterling's the big boss here. Spot on. The rest are key players, but the Holloways pocket the biggest cut from flipping those homes. And the women themselves, the first pair didn't make it. They passed in the facility from too many meds. The investigator said it darkly. On paper, it looked like suicides tied to psych issues. Amara sucked in a breath. Basically, they murdered them. Yep, Sterling pumped them full of heavy-duty, mind-altering drugs. As for the remaining three, Eliza Coleman and Olivia Rhodes, they're hanging on. They're housed in the area's mental health center. The fifth one, Lauren Vance out of Savannah, ended up at a nearby facility, but then the leads dried up. Ike fished out yet another paper. The key bit is Sterling's confession. It lays out the entire operation. He pointed fingers at every partner in crime. Plenty of them, like a full web. A notary who sped up the legal docs for powers of attorney, a banker who leaked account info on the targets, a municipal worker who fast-tracked the weddings, and even a property broker who handled the apartment deals. Amara shook her head, stunned by how vast the racket was. So what's next for these folks? They're in custody. Prosecutors have filed charges on multiple counts: major swindling, unlawful confinement, and pushing folks towards self-harm, all done by a coordinated crew. And can we aid the women who survived? Efforts are underway. Eliza Coleman and Olivia Rhodes now have unbiased specialists overseeing them. They'll go through detox for those psychiatric meds, and pros see real potential for healing. The medics are guardedly hopeful. If their minds haven't been wrecked beyond repair, getting back to normal is feasible. It'll be a slow process, no doubt. Amara pondered that. What about getting their places back? Tricky. Legally, the sales went through via those authorizations, but given the case's context, judges might void the deals. How much time for that? Could drag on for years, the investigator admitted frankly. Our legal setup isn't famous for being quick. Amara rose and headed to the pane. Beyond it, spring sunshine beamed down. Folks rushed along with their routines, oblivious to how close these predators lurked. Ike, would it be possible to see those women? Why's that? I need to confirm they're on the mend, and say sorry. Sorry for what? You're in the same boat as them, a survivor. I nearly joined their ranks, but they're the real casualties. Without that chance eavesdrop, I'd have been number 5. The investigator gave a knowing nod. Fine, I'll coordinate with the staff, though it'll have to wait a bit until they're steadier, maybe a couple of days. Appreciate it. One other item. Ike went back to the files. The inquiry requires your full account. You have to record every bit of your dealings with the Holloways. Absolutely. When do I start? Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Plus, the investigator paused. You ought to consider counseling. Stuff like this leaves scars. Amara grinned. Honestly, I'm doing fantastic. After 6 months, it's the first time I truly own my future again. Even so, mull it over. Rebuilding faith in others gets tough after ordeals like yours. That night, Amara lounged in the kitchen nursing a mug of tea, mulling over the whirlwind of recent days. Her cell kept buzzing with reporter inquiries. The scoop on her wedding day revelation had hit the headlines. She only picked up the crucial ones. A colleague rang. Amara, caught the report. That really happened. Your intended was a fraudster. Wow, and I'd been puzzling over your recent distance. Figured it was jitters before the big day. Not jitters, gut feeling. Clearly some inner voice kept signaling trouble, though I couldn't pin it down. So how'd you uncover it all? Amara shared the tale of the snatched chat. Her pal yelped in shock, hardly able to process it. You're incredible. Just think what might have befallen you, and how many additional women that crook's plot could anyone have been fooled. Hey, mind if I pick your brain on something, buddy? Sure, shoot. If you catch any rumors floating around the office, shut them down by saying, I'm not ready to chat about this mess. I need some space to wrap my head around all that's gone down. Absolutely got it. Once her talk with the friend wrapped up, Amara powered down her cell and hit the sack. The next day brought a statement to file, followed by a session with the scam survivors the day after. The local mental health facility sat on Atlanta's edge, tucked inside an aging brick structure encircled by a sturdy barrier. Amara showed up with Ike and the freshly appointed division chief, Dr. Jones, who'd stepped in after Sterling's bust. "Heads up," the physician cautioned as he guided them along the endless hallway. "The ladies' states are pretty shaky right now. We're kicking off the cleanse routine, but their minds took a real beating." "Do they get what's going on?" Amara wondered. Eliza Coleman's got clearer spells. Olivia Rhodes is responding more steadily these days, though it's still spotty. Progress is building. They paused outside a door marked with a sign, Ward 15. "We'll kick things off with Eliza. Just take it easy on her energy." The doc rapped lightly and swung the door wide. Inside the compact, sunny space, a slender lady in her 30s with cropped black locks perched on the mattress. Spotting the group, she edged warily toward the corner. "Eliza, folks here to see you," the doctor murmured softly. "This is the gal I mentioned." The woman fixed her gaze on Amara. You're the one who blew their cover." She murmured quietly, "That's me." Amara eased into a seat beside the bed. "I'm Amara. I really wanted to connect with you." "And I'm Eliza." The tension in her frame softened a bit. "Dr. Jones mentioned you nearly fell into the same trap with those monsters." "Sadly, true. Without that lucky run-in, I'd be bunked right next door." Eliza dipped her head. "You know, I spent ages convinced I was losing my mind, those visions kicking in, chunks of time vanishing. Marcus sold it so well that I bought into needing fixing." "I can picture that nightmare," Amara replied empathetically, "when reality feels like a fog." "Then they hauled me off here. Sterling claimed I posed a threat, diagnosed me with worsening schizophrenia." "How much time?" 4 years. Eliza glanced toward the glass. 4 years those scum swiped from me." Amara's chest tightened. "Eliza, any family or pals nearby?" "I had some, but post-admission, Marcus spread word I was beyond saving. Visits dried up, along with calls to my place." She gave a wry grin. "He cashed it out, got the legal say-so and labeled me unfit." "But that's all shifting now," Amara declared with resolve. "The deals get tossed, your standing returns." "You mean that for real?" "More than believe, I'm certain. I've got solid ties in the legal world. We'll make it right." For the first time in ages, Eliza wept, not from sorrow, but relief. "Thanks," she breathed. "Without you, save the thanks. Focus on healing and gearing up for fresh starts." Olivia Rhodes came next. Her shape was rougher. She barely registered the world, her stare locked on nothing in particular. "Olivia Company," Dr. Jones ventured carefully. She pivoted her neck gradually. No spark of knowing lit her face. "You with us?" Amara probed. She registers, but responses lag. Sterling pumped her full of heavy stuff. It'll drag out the mend. Amara inched nearer, clasping Olivia's palm. "Olivia, I'm Amara. Here to say the horror's done. Marcus is locked up. Sterling, too." A flutter of her lids and brief awareness gleamed. Marcus, she uttered. "Right, Marcus Holloway. No more harm from him." Olivia gripped back and let tears flow wordlessly, sharply, unloading years of torment. Exiting the center, Amara felt drained. "Tough," Ike queried. "Brutal, witnessing what they did to those souls. But hope's on their side for real living. Real, endless therapy, court battles for homes, paperwork rebuilds. Still beats rotting away in a ward." He nailed it. No matter the hurdles looming, Eliza and Olivia clutched possibility. "Ike, what on Lauren in Savannah?" "Locals there'll track her. I forwarded the full file. If she's out there breathing, freedom's hers too." That evening, Amara hunkered over her laptop for hours, digging into patient protections, reclaiming capacity steps, and seizing back wrongly taken assets. She committed No way she'd bail on these women's paths post-scam. Come morning, she'd scout top counsel and launch the push for their justice. 7 days post-reveal, Amara perched in a premier firm suite downtown. The lawyer, Simone Cole, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s with streaks of silver in her hair, examined the case files intently. "This matter is quite outrageous," she remarked, sliding the documents to one side. "Legally speaking, though, it's far from straightforward." "How so?" Amara inquired. "On paper, the property transfers for the apartments were carried out properly. The authorizations were properly authenticated by a notary, and the judicial rulings declaring the victims incompetent remain valid. Yet it was all achieved through deceit. Demonstrating that in a courtroom won't be easy, will require accounts from witnesses, expert medical evaluations, and solid proof of duress. Confessions from the perpetrators alone won't suffice. They might assist, but opponents could dispute them, claiming the admissions came under duress or as a bargain for lighter punishment." Amara pondered the point. "Still, action is possible, without a doubt. To start, we'll submit requests to reinstate the affected party's full legal capacity. That's feasible given the fresh health assessments. Simultaneously, we'll draft claims to nullify those deals. Keep in mind, this could drag on for 1 to 3 years, and during that span, will the ladies end up without a roof? Not inevitably. We could seek an emergency order to block any further transfer of the disputed assets. That would halt sales until the judge rules. Solid plan. Let's proceed. Amara, are you certain about shouldering this burden? Court battles demand hefty fees and take a heavy toll. Absolutely. I've got reserves, and I'm prepared to invest them in a righteous fight." Simone Cole gave an approving nod. "Very well, we move forward. Just so you know, the purchasers of those units will resist fiercely. They obtain them through legitimate channels. What happens to them in the end? Ideally, they hand back the properties plus reimbursement for their expenses. At worst, the deals get overturned with no payback. That's reasonable. No one should gain from another's suffering." Following the consultation with the attorney, Amara headed to the medical center to see Eliza and Olivia. Over the past 7 days, their health had shown clear progress. "Amara," Eliza exclaimed with a bright smile. "What's the latest? Any word on the legal action? I've secured a top-notch legal expert. We're initiating steps to reclaim your entitlements. It might stretch out a bit, but justice will prevail. That's my commitment." Olivia appeared more vibrant, too. A spark of awareness lit her gaze, even if she remained mostly silent. "Olivia, do any memories surface from your days with Marcus?" Amara probed softly. "Yes, they do," the lady whispered. "He handed me tablets claiming they were just supplements. Anything more, like how they got me admitted here. I protested that I was fine, but they ignored me." "Those details matter a great deal," Amara noted. "The attorney will record them formally. Why go to all this trouble?" Eliza wondered out of the blue. "Why devote your effort and funds to people you barely know?" Amara paused to formulate her response. "See, I spent my life isolated, in group homes, then cooped up in my place. Just 6 months back, I believed I'd built a real home. It was all a lie. Now I see what family truly means. Folks who stand by one another through tough spots." Eliza grinned. "So does that make us kin to you? If that's all right with you, we'd welcome it." Eliza clasped her hand. "Thanks, sis." Later that night, Ike rang Amara. "I've got updates on the Savannah case." He updated her that Lauren Vance had survived. She's receiving care at a nearby mental health facility. How's her state? Stronger than Eliza's or Olivia's. Seems she wasn't dosed with drugs as long, and her residence transferred to someone else. Fortunately, the acquirer is a front entity connected to Sterling's outfit, which simplifies recovery. Great. Make sure to relay our lawyer's details to your Savannah team. Oh, and one more thing. Marcus Holloway wants a sit-down with you. For what reason? He insists on expressing regret and offering insights that could aid the prosecution. Amara wavered. Fine, but with the lawyer present and everything taped, Understood. I'll arrange it for the next day. The holding facility left a stark mark on Amara. Drab concrete barriers, iron-grated openings, and unyielding security personnel. She navigated multiple security posts, handing over her mobile and bag. Inside the visitation area, Lawyer Cole and the lead detective were already waiting. Shortly after, escorts led in Marcus. The former partner looked utterly transformed. His old swagger had vanished. Instead of tailored attire, he wore institutional garb. He seemed exhausted and frayed. "Hi, Amara," he murmured, taking the seat opposite. "Hi," she answered curtly. "Appreciate you making the time." "Get to it. What's this about?" "Our chat's limited," Marcus said, massaging his features. "I need to express remorse for all the harm I intended for you. Not only you, those 5 others as well." He dropped his gaze. "Look, I didn't turn out this way overnight. The initial push came from my mother. She urged it, saying her illness required major funds. What illness? She was battling cancer. The surgery demanded a fortune we simply couldn't afford. The attorney documented every detail, and for your mom, you chose to mislead vulnerable ladies. Initially, it felt like a one-off. We figured, all right, we'll trick just one, save mom, and that's it. Forever. Yet you kept going. We kept going." He shook his head in regret. The cash vanished in no time. Then Sterling proposed running the con again, and you went along with it. I'm flawed, Amara. I grew hooked on the quick cash and lavish lifestyle. Plus, Mom urged me on. She claimed affluent women wouldn't even notice the loss. They wouldn't notice at all. Amara's tone turned stern. Eliza Coleman wasted 4 years of her existence. Olivia Rhodes nearly shattered mentally. I get it, Marcus sobbed. I'm a beast, but I yearn to make amends. How exactly? I'll reveal all I know about the plots, the partners in crime, the stashed funds. The detective leaned in closer. What stashed funds? We didn't divide every penny. I tucked some away for tough times. There's a concealed bank account. How much? Roughly $6 million by my estimate. The attorney and detective shared a look. Plus properties, Marcus added. Sterling acquired condos under fake company names. 2 here in town, 1 in Savannah. We can verify it. I've got duplicates of the papers. I stashed them in case the doc tried to double-cross us. Where are they? In a safe deposit box. I can hand over the key and authorization to fetch them. The detective gave a nod. This'll boost the prosecution big time. As for the sufferers, I'm prepared to take the stand against Sterling. I'll explain how he picked the meds, how he faked the disease signs. Amara absorbed it all, reflecting that even crooks like him could feel remorse. But way too late. It only hits when nothing can be fixed anymore. Marcus, and your mother. He gave a wry smile. She still insists we did nothing bad. She views it as shifting riches to those in need. So no guilt for her. None. And that's the worst part. At least I grasp our wrongs. But she truly sees our deeds as righteous. The session stretched 2 hours. Marcus spilled every bit he knew on the gang, identified the cohorts, and pointed out where the files and cash were hidden. Why go through this? Amara inquired as it wrapped up. To somehow ease my conscience. He met her gaze. And though it might seem absurd, I really developed feelings for you. You fell during the fake romance. At first, it was all an act. Then you proved different from the others. Different how? Resilient, self-reliant. I aspired to improve myself around you. Too late for such notions. Amara shot back icily. I realized, but I needed you to hear the facts. As she exited the jail, Amara wrestled with an odd blend of sympathy and revulsion. Marcus seemed truly sorry, yet that didn't pardon his crimes. His testimony will aid the prosecution immensely, the attorney noted. With proof like this, the judge will definitely rule for the harmed individuals. What penalty will he face? At least 10 years. His help to authorities might drop it to 8. Still too lenient, Amara muttered darkly. Yet the sufferers will gain restitution and reclaim their homes. That mattered most. Fairness would prevail, and the women scarred by the fraudsters could start fresh. 6 months on, Amara lounged in a cafe, sipping coffee and scanning the paper. A story on the infamous case's end dominated the front. "Scam Circle faces reckoning," the header blared. "Marcus Holloway, 8 years in maximum security. Vivian Holloway, 7 years. Dr. Aaron Sterling, 12 years as the ringleader. The rest got 3 to 5 years. Key point: all affected women were deemed mentally sound and their home sales were voided." Eliza Coleman and Olivia Rhodes went back to their places. Lauren Vance and Savannah regained hers too. Over those months, Amara's world had transformed. She left the building company and launched a charity aiding scam survivors. The headquarters sat in a modest downtown spot, but demands kept piling up. "Amara, visitor for you," the receptionist called. Ike stepped in, carrying a bunch of wildflowers. "Well done wrapping up the matter," he said, passing them over. "Thanks." She arranged them in a vase, and though this isn't the end, more like a fresh start. "How so?" "We've heard from 15 folks with matching tales already. Seems these cons are more widespread than anticipated. Your next moves: aid those affected. Build a team of attorneys and sleuths focused on such frauds." Ike grinned. "I was about to propose teaming up, but you've outpaced me. I'm always." She was thrilled to collaborate with experts. "Well, count me in on the squad." "Outstanding. Now update me on how our charges are faring." Eliza Coleman has made a complete comeback. She's returned to her job. Her goal is to pursue a legal education via distance learning. Ideal. As for Olivia, her situation is trickier. The emotional scars linger, yet she's making progress. And Lauren Vance out of Savannah, she's got real courage. She's launched a hair and beauty parlor. The venture is thriving. Amara nodded approvingly. That confirms our objective succeeded. Which objective? Restoring those women's belief in fairness and everyday living. That night, Amara strolled by the seaside walkway, savoring the balmy evening breeze. A youthful pair occupied a seat nearby, fingers intertwined. The woman donned a pristine gown, her companion a pale ensemble. Freshly married, no doubt. Amara grinned, recalling her own botched nuptials. Back then, it seemed existence had ended, trust forever shattered. Today, she saw the bigger picture. It all worked out for the better. Her cell buzzed, snapping her from reverie. "Amara, Eliza here. Hi there. Everything okay? Fantastic. I've got some updates. I've signed up for law studies." "Well done. Online program." "Exactly. I've chosen to build my knowledge. I aim to protect folks who've been wronged, just like me. That's inspiring. We'll end up as partners." "Oh, and I've started seeing someone," Eliza admitted bashfully. "No kidding. Spill the details." We crossed paths at the court building. He'd been burned by fraudsters too, though in another way. He's genuinely kind and upright. Any talk of tying the knot. For the moment, we're taking it slow. But he mentions proposals. Your thoughts on that? Oddly, fear's gone. Surviving our ordeal taught me to spot honesty amid deceit. Chatting with Eliza left Amara sensing the day held real value. The individuals she'd rescued weren't just mending their bodies. They were forging fresh bonds and ambitions, and her own path. 6 months prior, Amara viewed romance as a cover for selfish gains. Slowly, clarity emerged. People vary widely. Some exploit emotions for gain. Others offer them purely. Back at her place, a cluster of field blooms, cardless, dangled from her door handle. These anonymous gifts had shown up weekly for a month, Fridays only, fresh varieties each time, notes absent. Amara beamed, a hidden suitor evidently. Curiosity stirred. Who could it be? And crucially, should she risk vulnerability again? Beyond her window, the evening metropolis glowed to life. Out in that sprawl, souls might seek aid come morning, and they'd find it, thanks to guardians battling for righteousness. Amara gathered the blooms and arranged them in a vase. Maybe a fresh phase awaited, one built on authenticity and shared faith, free of trickery or avarice. 7 days later, the bouquet puzzle unraveled on its own. Ike entered the workspace clutching yet another armful of meadow posies. "You behind this?" Amara queried in astonishment. "Guilty," the investigator admitted with a shy grin. "I figured I'd learn about the real you first. Your verdict. You're remarkable, resilient, principled, always aiding others. So what's the plan? Next, I'd like to see if you'd join me for a meal. Purely personal, a real outing." Amara pondered. Months back, she'd have declined outright. Betrayal's sting was too raw. But today, "Sure, let's do it." She beamed. "One caveat, though." "What?" "Skip the anonymous flowers. If you're gifting, own it. Deal." Ike chuckled. Their inaugural outing unfolded at a cozy, family-run eatery. Conversation flowed on myriad topics: careers, aspirations, visions. Ike emerged as an engaging talker, laced with wit. "Amara, mind if I probe something private?" He ventured over sweets. "Shoot. Does letting a guy in scare you still?" "Once, yes," she replied candidly. "But here's what clicked. One rogue doesn't mean barricading against all. Sound insight. Plus, I've gained a shield against deceivers, discerning fiction from fact. So do I pass muster so far?" "Absolutely," she grinned, "though I'll stay vigilant." Within 4 weeks, things deepened between them. Ike took his time, avoiding pressure for commitments. He just supported her. Steady, truthful, empathetic. "Know what draws me to you most?" He murmured one twilight as they wandered the greenery. "Tell me, how you transformed suffering into power. You aid strangers. You didn't withdraw. And you pull me in because you don't play rescuer." Amara countered. "You see my inner fortitude. That's our perfect balance." All the while, her group expanded steadily. Come year's close, they'd assisted 27 swindle survivors. They continued. They carried out 8 trials. They restored assets valued at more than $35 million to victims. Eliza Coleman was thriving in law school and eager to join Amara's group once she finished her studies. Olivia Rhodes launched a cozy flower boutique and was flourishing. Lauren Vance, hailing from Savannah, grew her enterprise even further. As New Year's Eve approached, Amara got a note from the facility holding Marcus Holloway. "Amara, I'm not sure if you'll even see this, but I needed to express that I've learned about your initiative and the way you're aiding folks. It makes me glad that I crossed paths with you, even in those tough times. I'm doing my time and reflecting deeply on existence, on how things might have turned out differently if I'd been tougher. But what's done is done. All you can do is seek redemption for your wrongs. I need you to understand that everything I shared during the questioning was accurate, and should more details ever be required, I'm prepared to provide them. Also, I want to thank you for halting our operations. Without your intervention, we would have kept ruining the lives of blameless individuals. I hope you find the genuine joy you truly merit." Amara read the message twice over, then tucked it away into her drawer. History couldn't be rewritten, but a brighter tomorrow could be forged. On December 31st, Ike popped the question. It wasn't flashy or dramatic, just a quiet moment at their holiday dinner table at home. "Amara, will you marry me?" he asked, presenting a modest gold band. "What if I turn you down once more?" she teased. "I'll keep waiting for your yes." "How patient are you really?" "As long as it takes, even a lifetime." Amara slipped the ring onto her finger. "Yes," she answered. 1,000 yeses. The ceremony happened that spring in the very same municipal building where she'd uncovered the fraudsters. Yet this time, it felt entirely transformed, genuine, upright, brimming with real affection. The crowd was small: workmates, pals, Eliza, Olivia, Lauren, who traveled from Savannah, all the ones forming her chosen kin, bound not by blood but by shared values. "Amara Holloway, do you accept Isaiah West as your wedded spouse?" inquired the official. "I do," the bride affirmed with unwavering resolve, her voice carrying full assurance in what lay ahead. Once the celebration wrapped up and everyone headed out, the couple lingered by themselves along the seaside walkway where Amara had once mulled over her destiny. So, how does this tale wrap up? Ike wondered. Happily, she grinned, completely and utterly happy. And in this town, there are folks who could use assistance come morning, and they'll get it thanks to those committed to upholding fairness. Amara West clasped her partner's hand firmly and gazed forward boldly. Her chase and evade pursuit had culminated in triumph, not just against the con artists, but also against her inner doubts and isolation. Stretching before her was an entire existence rich with authentic emotions, meaningful pursuits, and heartfelt bonds, the kind of life she'd rightfully claimed. Did this tale resonate with you, and from which spot are you tuning in? Drop by in the comments to chat. If the story won you over, consider showing support with a super thanks so I can deliver more tales just like it. Your kind backing means the world, thank you. Can't wait to hear your thoughts below. Check out the 2 Fresh Life narratives on screen that I totally suggest. My channel has tons more waiting. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Catch you in the upcoming story. Warmly yours.